ratify, was adopted as the auditor for the year 2022. Yeah. Okay. The auditor was present in the meeting and gave his report in person. We are expecting the auditor also today in this meeting. The finance report and the auditor's report were adopted. Then we had the amendment to the constitution, which was members felt that not enough groundwork, or the council felt that there had not been enough groundwork to socialize members on the changes. Therefore, it recommended deferring to allow more consultation, and then if need be that year, an SGM will be called to ratify a new constitution. That was 2021. And from that meeting, there were no motions received from members, but members in their AOB noted issues such as issues of excellence in journalism and issues of brown envelope, which Kenya Editors Guild was called upon to look into, to bring back, the industry to where it should be. So the meeting ended with a prayer from John. So that's a summary of what happened in the AGM of April 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary. So the question is that a true record of the AGM we held on the 30th of April 2022? If it is so, could I have a mover and a seconder for the confirmation of those minutes? Shimoli was moved. Andy seconded. Yes. Is there a mic somewhere?
Share.
Chairman, with due respect, I want to suggest that in future we circulate the minutes well ahead of the AGM, so that when we come to the AGM, we are not going through every minute that was recorded in terms of what we discussed. We review the minutes for correctness and completion, and then move on to the next subject. That's how minutes are usually reviewed at every meeting. Thank you, Chair.
I second.
Well advised, and hope the Secretariat has taken note, and we adopt that going forward. Yes, Mutegi?
I also wanted to confirm those who attended online, because it was a heavy meeting, have they captured the present, or there is a second list for the hybrid attendees?
They are all captured.
I attended online, but I have not seen it.
All right. I'll take note of that.
There's an intervention from Joseph.
Yes, I just want to bring to members' attention that these minutes were circulated in the WhatsApp group. Chairman, this is the question why we should go through every chapter and verse at this meeting. If you all receive the minutes well in advance, it should be presumed or assumed that you have read, and all we need to do here is to confirm they are complete and they are correct.
I think the principle is set, and the Secretariat is properly advised. Any other matter arising from those minutes? Okay, so that then settles Do you have any matter coming from online? Would raise your hand or put a comment on the chat. Thank you. I'll then move on to agenda number 5, which is the annual report for 2022. I'll highlight the salient parts of this report. Then there's certain specific questions that we may need a bit of depth on. And when we get there, I'll invite the relevant EC members to come and share. First area is membership. And we are happy to report that our membership grew to 250 during that year. The second key area is training and capacity building. We may remember that we opened the year following a very, very difficult 2021 because of COVID. So the start was rather slow. Not difficult because and the Guild had chosen to play a more pronounced role in enabling the media role in that election. So lots of trainings, lots of partnerships that we got onto. Activities including fact check and also we're hearing a bit more of that from the programs committee. Played quite a bit of an advocacy role, mostly on the legal, on policy issues, and on issues that touch on safety of journalists. We had engagements with the policy-making entities such as Parliament, the Media Owners Association. We also I think somebody still have a few minutes as president. So when you keep up a very okay. Those engagements included with key officers such as the AGM and the DPP, but also interactions through the Kenya Media Stakeholders Working Group, where KEG and Kenya Union of Journalists are co-conveners. We had lots of engagements with partners who, in one way or another, came through to support the work of the Guild, including the IEBC, the Open Society, UNESCO, UK's Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, the US Embassy, Aga Khan University's Graduate School of Media and Communications, and in the region, under the auspices of the Eastern Africa Editor Society, we had collaboration and solidarity activities with the Editors Guild of Ethiopia, Uganda Editors Guild, and Tanzania Editors Forum. And we continue to sit in the African Editors Forum too. A quick question on sustainability. Members may recall that in the last AGM, the EC did present a proposal which was approved for the setting up of a sustainability fund, and the members allowed investment of $1 million shillings at that point in time. That fund has now grown to 2.5 million shillings, but we do have some specific reports on it from the trustees. So I'd like to invite one of the trustees to just come and share the thinking around that fund and what we are requesting members to do to help the guild grow stronger into the future.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to report that KEG has a reserve fund with 2.5 million shillings. The objectives of the fund is to meet unforeseen financial challenges of the guild, and number two, to ensure financial stability with KEG. You may be asking yourselves, where is this money coming from? The source of this money, a subscription from members, and 2% from the program fund. We spare a little money, we save a little money for worse days ahead. The money is currently invested. It's invested under the Standard Investment Bank, under the Mansa X scheme. It deals heavily on money markets. It is invested there 1 year to be revolving as we monitor its performance. And to withdraw this money, all the 3 trustees must sign. And for this signature to be appended, it will be after a request and a resolution from the executive committee showing the need to access this money. But as at now, we are also trying to explore ways of ring fencing this fund so that there cannot be excuses every other time to see how to raid it. And I think, Mr. President, briefly, that is the fund. Thank you. Yeah, this our target is to get this money untouched for 5-year cycle, so that there is a guarantee that the guild is cushioned, that there is something to hold on to. And the trustees are exploring how to ring fence this fund, Mr. President. We will report to this council for to the AGM on the proposals on how to ring fence this fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear members, those are key highlights from the President's report. I now want to invite specific committees that are seized of certain key activities to come and share. I'd first want to invite the Chair of Strategy Committee for 2022 to briefly outline what that committee did and also report on our strategic plan as set out.
Good afternoon, members.
Cooperation throughout the year. Our key responsibilities were driving membership, enforcing policies, management of the Guild's Reserve Fund, fundraising, partnerships, approval of projects, and the strategic plan. I'll not report on each item. Like the chairman said, like the president said, we brought 17 new members on board, and I take this opportunity to welcome all those new members who joined us. In spite of a very difficult year when we had people not having jobs, we had some people not being paid, but we got on board 17 new members. So we really congratulate those new members who joined us. 2, we have now a strategic plan in place, a strategic plan for 2022-2026, and this is the plan that is guiding the Guild's work going forward. It focuses on 5 thematic areas. 1 is policy research and advocacy. 2, the next gen initiative, how we bring in the next generation of editors. 3, capacity building of the journalists and editors here. And 4, membership development. And the 5th focus area is organizational development. During the year, we also had the following policies approved. We had a policy on safeguarding of the journalists. We also have a policy on anti-fraud for our members. We have the following policies in the pipeline: sustainability policy, and that's pretty much what Martin was speaking to. How do we sustain ourselves as KEG going forward? We also are working on a code of conduct for our members, and linked to this is working on a policy that will decide when we offload members for conduct and becoming. I'd like to say a word or two about that item on conduct and becoming, and this includes such ills as sexual harassment. We have a team, an ad hoc committee that was put in place, and it is chaired by Joseph Odindo. And that committee has come up with a proposed policy that will look at who can we have as our members. Any respectable association has a line where you draw and say you can say you cannot associate with this person anymore. So that policy will outline how we decide to offload people whose conduct is deemed to be unbecoming, and that policy will also outline what unbecoming conduct means and how we arrive at the decision that your conduct is unbecoming and therefore you do not deserve to associate with the rest of us good members of society. On welfare, the committee is cognizant of the fact that many of our members are not covered by any medical insurance, and also we know the burden of the last expense bills. So we experimented with CIC to come up with a policy for our members on last expense, and we had them on board in 2022. Unfortunately, midway through, they changed the terms of the policy and it was untenable, and we decided that we would not be renewing with them. So we are exploring what else is on the market, where we can enroll our members into a last rights policy. And also we are exploring what medical policy we can look at for our members. But these initiatives actually call for members' cooperation so that we have enough numbers to help us bargain for a good rate. So when we come to you, or when the next committee comes to you with a proposal, please participate, and particularly if you're not covered at your place of work, participate so that we get a good cover for ourselves as a group cover. I will speak to just those, and the key lesson we have learned going forward is that unfortunately our membership subscriptions cannot sustain us as KEG. We're finding that out of our budget, we end up using just about 10% is catered for by membership, and the rest is catered for from donor funding. And as most of you know, donor funds come with projects in mind, not really to sustain as a KEG. So there's a challenge there. We need to reach out more to members, to get more members on board, but also more importantly, to get the members who are registered to continue paying their subscription so that KEG can remain sustainable going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pamela. An announcement from the returning officer that will be advised that voting will close at 1:30. Voting will close at 1:30. Thank you. The next, I'd like to invite the chair of the Innovation Committee to share on the CPD.
Good afternoon, members. I was the chair of the Innovations Committee, and the members that were in that committee with me were Dr. Hezron Mugambi, there was Gushu, Millicent Owur, as well as Ochieng Rapuro. And in terms of some of the activities that we were involved in, there was a recommendation that we start a podcast for KEG, and we basically had several conversations around this and a look at what name would work, and we voted on several names, but as a committee we never came to a concrete agreement, and so this was passed on to the subsequent committee that was following. We also had several trainings that happened during that period. We had a training on biodiversity for journalists. We also had another one that basically, in terms of our reports, we had, sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. We also had conversations on guidelines, several guidelines that basically we were trying to develop as the Kenya Editors Guild. And one of the ones that had been passed was on safety guidelines and mechanism for journalists during the COVID-19 period. Then on the CPD, there was a meeting which basically agreed on the modalities on how this would go forward, and the point awarding for members, because this was seen as a key thing, and one of the questions that most members have been asking is how basically this would work for them and what else KEG can be able to offer. So that is what I will offer right now as far as a report from the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And the final report will come from the Finance Committee. I invite the chair of the Finance Committee to present his bit.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, members. The detailed report of the Finance Committee will be shared with the annual general report, but allow me to go through some of the highlights of what, as a committee, we felt would be important for the Kenya Editors Guild going forward. There are two key issues that emerged in the course of our duty. One was on sustainability, and the other one was on fundraising. Kenya Editors Guild is a non-profit making organization, therefore we are not in any business to make money. However, we must run our affairs with money. So how do we ensure that we raise this money? One, we say that we need to look at diversifying our sources of funding. We have for a very long time relied only on donor support and membership subscription. And if you look at our income expenditure, you realize that in the year under review, our membership subscription was only about 600,000 Kenya shillings, vis-a-vis an expenditure of about 55 million Kenya shillings. So that tells you the gap that we have as a guild in terms of how to run our operations and raising resources. So without donor support, then I want to believe KEG is dead. So how then do we ensure that we have things that we are doing as an organization that will ensure that we run our affairs properly? So we have to diversify our sources of funding, look beyond the grants, go more specifically to some donors, look for sponsorships, and do fundraising events, because these are the only ways that we can raise this money. Two, and I'll just be looking at just a few, we need to have a sustainable model, a business model as it were. And one thing that arose from the last AGM, and we also captured as a committee, is the need for KEG to have probably a tax show that members can buy souvenirs and keep the organization running. A good example would be if you want to gift your relatives and you are a good member of this organization, as a right-standing member, why don't you buy them hoodies or capes or t-shirts or pens? You have children going to school, why don't you, instead of buying big pens for them, buy KEG branded pens for them, so that as they go to school, they become our ambassadors and people realize that there's journalism in this country and there's journalism of good standing spearheaded by the Kenya Editors Guild. So these are some of the things. Again, we really need to build partnerships that are sustainable. Beyond projects, what are some of these partnerships that KEG can enter into that ultimately will realize some revenue for them? So we need to look at that. And lastly, we must measure impact. Anybody who gives us their money must see the value. So how do they see this value? They see this value by us as members, taking part more proactively in some of these engagements, as members, reviewing some of these things we are doing, and giving a progress report. If, for example, we go for a training, or we are trained, then this should reflect in the products that we churn out there. So if it's a training, or let's say financial reporting, then the kind of stories that we see out there must reflect on the training that we were supported to do. So as members, we really need to be keen and ensure that we do that. The other aspect that I mentioned was on how to raise funds, and this is where it gets very interesting. Then we must now start hosting fundraisers to run our affairs. It is very, very important, and one of the things that we were looking at is, why don't we do charity walks, especially on the World Press Freedom Day? People buy t-shirts at 1,500 shillings, capes at 500 shillings. We can do armbands at 600 or 300, and as a result, we are able to raise money to fund our operations. The most interesting thing out here is, why don't we also do cocktail? The next president can invite us for a cocktail, and we pay 2,000 shillings, and we go and mingle as members, and that money is used to run our operations. Chairman, you are leaving without hosting us for a cocktail, so perhaps before you exit, you are challenged to raise one so that we are able to raise funds. The other thing that we can do is to crowdfund. We can do this by championing several causes around press freedom, integrity in journalism, sustainability in journalism, media leadership, and we have people helping us to fund such causes. And lastly, I said the more detailed one will be on the annual report, is to appeal to individual donors. We have amongst us as members people who have left the trade, are in good standing, and God has blessed them. So why don't we appeal to them? Why don't we appeal to them so that they fund as individual donors? Over and above our membership, we know of Kenyans, we know of global citizens that would be more than happy to partner with the Kenya Editors Guild and fund certain causes for us. So it is important that the incoming office works through these recommendations and ensure that as an organization we are sustainable and all facets of our operations are duly funded and we don't have to rely on members. Lastly, this is a rallying call. Once the new team comes into office, it will be important. Right now, the role of fundraising is only left to some time. It will be important that we rely on our strengths, our networks, and set up a fundraising committee from the membership that will go a long way in supporting the secretariat to look for these funds, look for these avenues to raise this money, so that at the end of the day, we are all members of a well-oiled, funded Kenya Editors Guild that is able to be independent and remain autonomous as we want it to be. Thank you, and God bless you. Yes, I think at this juncture, we want to invite our auditors to just come and give us a detailed presentation. They are the guys who looked at our books of accounts. They should tell members whether we did the right things, whether we accounted for the shillings to the last cent, and if there's any recommendation based on our reporting that they would like to share with members going forward. So, if I may.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members. My name is Francis Shubi, representing UHY Kenya. UHY Kenya was the auditor during the year. I will start by a brief introduction of who UHY is. It's a firm that used to be called Mugai and Associate back in 1976. Later, it metamorphosized into what we now call UHY Kenya after joining an umbrella firm based in UK. Now, the primary responsibility of an auditor during an AGM is to read an opinion, but I will not stop at that point. I will take you through the statement of income, that is the surplus, the statement of comprehensive income, and your balance sheet. The opinion I am talking about, there are 4 opinions at our disposal, starting with a qualified opinion, which means that whatever we have gotten does not satisfy us. There is a disclaimer, that is when we receive or we don't get enough information to enable us to issue an opinion. And there is also an unqualified opinion, which we call a clean bill of health, and an except for opinion, which means that we have gotten information but we don't wish to express an opinion on certain figures. For this particular society, I will read the opinion at the end, but before I do that, I will go through the statement of the comprehensive income, which basically has the incomes and expenses for the society during the period. The society received the money from grants and member subscription worth or an amount of 62.4 million compared to 38.5 million in 2021. As a speaker who was before me said, this was an election year. The society received more money from grants to be able to participate or to enhance its participation in the coverage of that election. We also had expenses, administrative expenses, which was 16 million compared to 11 million in 2021. There's an increase of about 5 million. That was as a result of enhancement of miscellaneous increment in salaries and also money that was incurred on the AGMs. Finance cost of 165,000. We also had program expenses of 39 million compared to 27 million in 2021. At the end of the year, there was a surplus. That is, if you compare what came in as income of 6.8 million compared to a deficit that was there in 2021 of 1.3 million. Now, I now go to the statement of financial position, which is basically like a balance sheet if this was a company. It explains or it discloses assets and liabilities of the society. The society at the close of the year had property, plant and equipment. Basically, these are fixed assets of 4.2 million compared to 660,000 in 2021. There was a bit of acquisitions of new assets during the year. Then there is current asset or assets or money that is expected to be received within the next 12 months, of 1.08 million compared to 2.5 million in 2021. Then there was cash in bank of 8.7 million compared to 6.4 million in 2021. A total current asset of 9.7 million. Then if you add that to the fixed asset of 2 million that I've just talked about, you end up with a total asset of 12.2 million. Reserves, that is a surplus that has been realized over the year of 11 million or 11.2 million compared to 4.4 million reserve or accumulated FAD in 2021. The society also had the current liability, that is expenses payable to service providers of 979,000 compared to 5.2 million in 2021. If you add that accumulated reserve of 11 million to the current liability of 979,000, you get total equity and liability of 12 million, which is the same as the total asset of 12 million that I've talked about. Our opinion, I will not go through the opinion paragraph by paragraph, but I will say that it is a clean opinion, an unqualified opinion, and I will just read the first paragraph. We have audited the accompanying financial statement of Kenya Editors Guild, set out on page 6 to page 16, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2022, the statement of comprehensive income, the statement of changes in equity and cash flow statement for the year then ended, and notes including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statement gives a true and fair view of the financial position of the society as at 31st December 2022 and its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards for small and medium-sized entities and complies with the requirement of the Societies Act. That marks the end of my presentation. Thank you.
As we wait for the Chair, Programs Committee, I would like to invite us all to give feedback on what has been presented so far. Any contributions from the room? Question, the chairs. Ako wapi Frank? Leo sijasikia Kiswahili kikitumika. Maoni, maswali. Eti pesa ya? Oh! Uliza sahi nani ana support? Who is the proposal? What's the motion? Imepita.
Maguzi sio? Maguzi sio kwamba kuna faida sio? Pesa za ziada. Kwa sababu nimetoa ukuta kwamba sherehe inaonekana tulifanya kazi nzuri. Kwa hivyo hiyo pesa za ziada tuweke hapa na bila pia kama tunasema tunataka nini cocktail ama nini? Watu wengi chama rais anaondoka afanyie nini? Kwa sababu mfano
hiyo hoja tutaiwazia. Ili kabla tuwazie, I give Ruth the opportunity to present highlights from the report.
All right, I'm reminded here by my senior Arthur Okwemba that we need to adopt the finance report, I think, as a procedure. So we do that first before I speak. Thank you. With the permission of the chair, I will proceed. So the programs committee for 2021 members of the programs committee 2021-2022 were Eric Shimoli, Wanyama Chepsiri, Nancy Agutu, Lilian Kaivulu, and Diana Leption from the Secretariat. I really appreciate the role you played in the committee and in bringing us this far. Thank you so much for your commitment also and dedication. I was also a member chairing it, and Shimo would also sit in for me as my deputy, and Chariot, sorry for that, is also a member. The committee is responsible for organizing training programs, workshops and events that aim to improve quality of journalism in the country. The key activities of the committee last year included a training of journalists on election coverage, storytelling, fact-checking, and data journalism. The committee also organized several workshops and media breakfasts on media ethics, which focused on issues such as conflict-sensitive, gender-sensitive reporting, impartiality, and accuracy in reporting ahead of the elections last year held on August 8th. One of the highlights that I would like to speak about is the training of journalists for the elections. We managed to train over 100 journalists across the country. We managed to reach places that had never been reached before, like northeastern Kenya, going to some very remote places to meet journalists and to train them. Our target was to reach journalists who are young and upcoming, working mostly in stations or places where they have very little contact or network with more experienced journalists like we who are in Nairobi are privileged to have. So a lot of the sessions that we took them through, to our surprise, we found that some of them were covering elections for the first time that year. And they were very, not so well skilled or even experienced to cover such. So we took them through, just helping them to get skills in accurate reporting, how to be impartial, and also to be very sensitive to when you're reporting conflict between two communities or between two leaders. And we also managed to talk to them a lot about their safety and security while out in the field. And also we found that there was a lot of media insensitivity in the country. People are really against us, People are being trolled, journalists were being targeted. And because of that, we reached out to the Inspector General of Police, seeking for his assurance that journalists will be protected wherever they are and when they're doing their work. We got funding from the UK, and also we got funding from OSIA, the Open Society in East Africa. They supported us in setting up monitoring of the elections. We had monitors across the country. We told a bit about the tally. That's a story for another day, but we attempted to do that. And the other thing that we did was setting up a hub for journalists at the Bomas Center, which was the National Tallying Center. I think it came in very handy for the support of journalists in doing their work, and also just like a place where you'd go for those long hours that we stayed up at Bomas. For a more detailed report, I would send you to the Secretariat, and there's also another on the election specifically, but there's a programs report in the annual report that you should be given later. So the outcome of this training is that you may have noticed that though there's a lot of criticism to how we did our work, but I can say over and above, we tried as much as we could to remain impartial and to not to be seen to be biased or to aligning to one side. And I'm speaking on this, especially to the ones that we took through training and our members. I think those are the main issues that we tackled. And then, of course, we also had the first anniversary of the Philip Ochieng Memorial, which was a programs initiative. Thanks.
Thank you, Ruth. So members, that constitutes the annual report. It's now decision time. From that report, the council has tabled three main things for decision. One is the adoption of the annual report as presented. Two is the adoption of the financial statements for 2022. And three is the protection of the sustainability fund. And the recommendation is that no withdrawals be made on that fund for the next 5 years. That's 2023 to 2028. I'll open the floor for intervention from members, and thereafter we shall put that question for members to take a decision. If we can have a roving mic, I don't know if there are any issues, questions, comments, suggestions that members have on that report.
Report. I'm just being reminded here that we have one committee that has not been, whose activities has not been reported on. Is this thing working? Yes. Okay. The ethics committee. That may be an oversight, or maybe there's a reason for that, and I'm sure members would like to be appraised of the activities of that committee. Number two, I thought the question about sustainability and exploring alternative sources of money. That it speaks to one resource that we all have, that we can come together and generate and see how we can then monetize that resource. and that is the universities are crying out aloud for case, what are they called? Case studies, yeah. We have a lot of brains here that can begin to bring their thoughts together to generate case studies that would help those who are going to universities now to study and begin to understand what happens in the media and how they can prepare themselves for that adventure, if you want to call it, yeah. I know the Aga Khan University is deep into that. They haven't quite started on it. And I know Strathmore also is always looking for case studies to help with their teaching programs. And all we need is for somebody to organize us, and we begin to take the first baby steps that will get us to that stage. I thought I should put that on the table so that we can begin to internalize it and see how far we can take it.
Thank you. First, I'm reminded that voting. So if you're here and you haven't cast your ballot, you have a window of 60 seconds to do that. Same for those online. As to the first question, just a slight oversight. I'll give the chair of the ethics committee a chance to be heard. And the second question I shall assign to the chair of the innovation committee to respond to. Maybe I take 2 or 3 more questions, then we can respond to them. Yes, the one.
Senior, I'm just
The third person. Okay, let's have those 2.
Mine is to add to Senior's comment about taking up research. There are opportunities in research, especially in technology. They run to thousands of dollars, so if we can organize, that would really be a big opportunity for us as KEG and even other media stakeholders. Then another question was, when you're talking about the fund, the fund, do you mean that it shall not be touched, or it shall not, can it be added onto, or just remain the way it is? There's no add. Oh yes, the reserve fund, sorry. Yes, can we add, can we continue adding on it, or does it?
On the issue of sustainability fund, a very good idea. Very good idea. I'm concerned about the duration for not withdrawing that fund. Put it at 5 years. You might find yourself in a situation whereby you have money in the account, but there's an emergency that really needs money, but you cannot access it. Or rather, the sustainability fund runs within a period of the office. And when we come for the AGM here, we can again lock it. That, for me, makes greater sense.
Can you hear? I'll first grant the chance to the chair of ethics committee to respond as a trustee to the questions around the sustainability fund. But before he does that, to first acknowledge my apologies and share his report from his ethics committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be very brief in my introduction over the Ethics Media Freedom Committee report for 2022. I start chairing that committee, and members were Masheria Gaido, Hassan Kululu, David Mekali, Nancy Buka, Professor, and Francis Openda. Very valuable minds to sit with. And the secretary, as always, is the executive director, Madam Omongo. Let me say that I'll just give the key items. You see the details of that in the annual report. I want to say that the biggest matter that we faced, which also marks probably our biggest failure as a committee, is the question of a brown envelope journalism. We began by deliberating over a complaint brought to us about a prominent member of KEG. I will not mention his name because of obvious reasons, who participated in handing over the brown envelope to journalists in another role. You know how we transit from one role to another very quickly. We don't admit. And when we pursued it, the member resigned from KEG. We were just pursuing it because this is a well-placed member of our association. And when we withdrew, then we also dropped the ball. We didn't have basis to pursue this. And so we also resolved to carry this conversation to the floor of our annual convention. And because of the competing interests on the agenda and the program of the convention, that conversation was not possible. And as we hand over to whoever becomes the chair of that event, because it's already in our record, the journalists of this country must debate this issue of brown envelope journalism because it interferes with media freedom. So many stories die at the presentation of a brown envelope. So many useless stories are published at the presentation of the brown envelope in our news. When that subject comes up, we all keep quiet. But we must face it because we keep on telling our leaders that this country is getting destroyed because of Mulugula, because of corruption. So will we set record standards for other people and not for ourselves? That is a pending matter with the Ethics and Media Freedom Committee. 2, there are issues that are coming up about legislation. We have had a change of government, and all signals that are coming indicate tough times ahead. There already is a declaration on review on laws on media. KEG has made the presentations. It is also evident that there are drafts in places that have not necessarily involved all media players. And my call as chairperson of the Ethics and Media Freedom Committee is the way forward is going to be rough. And it is also imagined that journalists are the easiest people to hang. That's why journalists from established media organizations can go for months without salaries, yet we are all quiet. So, the brothers and sisters, let's be prepared in the coming years, because there are all sorts of threats that are both internal and external. The mobilization out there is great, yet we don't seem to see it. So, brothers and sisters, the work for the future, media and ethics, Ethics and Media Freedom Committee going forward, there is a full interest. With those many remarks, Mr. President. Yeah. Let me, because I chair the board of trustees and I have members of that committee here. Let that response come from
Thank you, and thank you, Chair. Need to start. Okay. I agree. They say in science, the effect of diaphragm. You speak better when you are standing up. But I just wanted to speak to the issue of the reserve fund. I think there are 4 key things we are going to look into and which we have been deliberating on. One is what my brother you have raised, the time frame, and I think we need to carefully think about it. There need to be rules around how and how long do you invest and how do you access that money. The time frame, 5 years, indeed might be too long, especially if you have unforeseen financial need coming, and the only fallback is the reserve fund. So the time frame is something we need to look into. But the other key pillars, which also will encourage you as we work on the policy around the fund, there's already a framework that has been established, but we need to strengthen it. From where I see it is, what will be the use of those funds? Members need to say, the reserves in the funds in the reserve fund, they can be used only for these purposes. We need to be very clear on that. The second one is, where do we invest them? Do you invest them in capital reserves or revenue reserves? That has to be very clear from members. Are we going into real estate if the funds grows? Or are we just in revenue reserves like the way we are doing now, heavily in money markets? The other thing is access to the funds. How do we define who accesses the fund? Initially, the thinking around is whoever will be the trustees of KEG, they have to sign. Currently, in the fund, the people who are the directors in the fund are trustees. I think that one we didn't touch on, that they are the trustees who are now captured in the Standard Investment Bank as the directors. Those directors have to sign. Now, even in the EC, when the EC does a resolution that it wants to access those funds, do we need members also to vote on certain things to allow that access? I think what we need to do is to make it very difficult for someone just sitting at the EC to be able to do a resolution and access the funds. Yeah, so those are some of the things we really need your input as we finalize on the policy, just to make it watertight. Thanks a lot.
Chair of Innovation.
Good afternoon, members. I'm the 2023 Innovations Committee Chair, and I'd like to answer Senior Wangedi. Thank you very much for that suggestion, the suggestion on case studies. The Innovation Committee is the one charged with training and capacity building. So that is something we are glad to take up. And I think earlier I've seen some of our members, Ellen Wanjiro, Tom Jalio, Bushundungu, Millicent Award. So that's a challenge you've thrown to us. It's something we can take up. At the moment, we are involved in, there's an MOU which we've signed with Daystar University. So it's something we've already, it's work in progress. And one of the first issues we are going to deal with is mentorship, as well as training, and also just, what do I call it? We'll have like a session with the students. They can pose questions to us, an interaction where now we can build these upcoming journalists. So thank you very much for that question. It's something we are glad to take up.
Thank you. Those answers the first questions. One EC member has a pressing commitment and must leave now. That's the Chair of Finance. So I'd like to prioritize any questions regarding finance. If we could quickly raise them, then allow the member to with the other urgent matters. Finance? On finance?
Mimi naitwa Paul Nabiswa. Ndugu Bonyo, nimesikia kuhusu fedha ambazo mnahitaji kwa mwaka. Mahitaji yalikuwa ni shilingi milioni 55, lakini zile pesa mnapata kwa usajili ni kama 600,000, si ndio? Kwa hivyo nakisi inakuwa kama nakisi sio barabara ya kuelekea kwingine, ni deficit. Inakuwa kama karibu zaidi ya shilingi milioni 50, sio? Kwa hivyo mimi nafikiria mtafute mbinu zaidi za kutafuta hizi fedha, hata kama ni kuandika proposals, yani mapendekezo kwa washikadau mbalimbali ambao wanaweza kufadhili. Na pia mnakuwa wabunifu kidogo, mnaangalia maeneo ambayo yanaweza kuvutia hela kama ugaidi hivi na kadhalika. Alafu Marekani itatoa fedha ukisema kwamba mnatengeneza vikao kuhusiana na mambo ya radicalization na mambo kama hayo. Mtapata pesa nyingi, alafu itapunguza huo mzigo. Alafu swali la mwisho ni kwamba tunatafuta pesa, sio? Lakini unapoangalia wasomi katika jukwaa la wahariri ni wachache sana, sio? Na hao wasomi wako tu katika eneo la Nairobi, na nchini Kenya kuna vyuo vingi tu. Kwa hivyo mimi nawapa suluhisho. Mtumie Profesa Mugambi. Yeye ni mkaguzi kwa maana ya inspector wa tume ya vyuo vikuu, universities, yani kwa ufupi. Kwa hivyo ikiwa yeye anatembea katika hivi vyuo vyote, kwa sababu hiyo kazi ya serikali, anaweza kuwasaidia katika kusajili wasomi wengine kutoka vyuo vingine kama moja ambavyo vinatoa mafunzo ya wanahabari. Kwa sababu hata hoja ya ndugu namuita Kazee ni kwamba mtahitaji kufanya utafiti. Kwa hivyo mnapokuwa na wasomi wengi kutoka maeneo mbalimbali, basi inakuwa rahisi vile vile kufanya hiyo kazi. Nashukuru sana.
Asante sana bwana. Naona lugha inakusumbua lakini umejaribu. Finance? On finance, Ken.
Utajaribu hiyo mdomo ameangia. Ni lugha. Yes. So, nilikuwa nataka kusema kwa ile recommendations zimesomwa kwenye kiti wa testa zimetokelea ingependekeza uweke timelines zingine to implement, kwa sababu kama hiyo kitu ya tax na vitu zingine ni kama nilikuwa kwa vitu hizo zimetokea, munge implement, tuseme hii moja at least tumefanya bila ya kusema tutafanya na haijafanya. Asante sana.
Asante sana Bwana Bosire. Last chance for a question to finance. Okay, then I'll invite the chair of finance to respond. Because he's leaving, I'll put the question for the adoption. Statements. Okay.
Thank you. My Swahili is very brief, so I'll not speak much of it, but I think I want to kosoa wewe kwanza. Guild ni yetu sote, so usiseme ninataka mfanye, munaweza ongelea, hapana, ili yetu yote. So I think the first thing that we need to do, and we mentioned it, is that we need to set up a fundraising team from members, drawing from our expertise and experiences and our networks. With that, we're able to pull in resources and have a purpose. that will help us achieve all these things that we are saying here. Two, like Senior Ken has mentioned, we need timelines so that at the next AGM, we don't say these are the things that we recommended. And some of the timelines should come from this esteemed gathering, which means we may propose a budget and say towards the merchandise shop or the tax shop, let us release 1 million shillings as a seed fund towards production of t-shirts, pens, bags, and whatnot. Then that members approves, and immediately, if the funds are available, it goes towards the establishment of that. So I believe these things can be done. It only requires members to be more generous, one with their time, and two with their networks. We sit with the wealth of networks here. And if we volunteer them, then I want to believe KEG will not have a funding problem whatsoever. So it calls upon each and every one of us to make that deliberate decision that going forward I want to volunteer more of my time and networks to the guild so that we are able to achieve these things within a shorter period of time and we become self-sustaining. And this AGM next time will be held at the Fairmount Nanyuki, God willing, because KEG shall have the money to finance and take members there for a 1-week retreat. Thank you.
Thank you. So members, do we approve and adopt financial statements for 2022? Shall I get a mover? Winnie has moved for the adoption of the statements. Could we get a seconder? Ule jamaa wa kujaribu Kiswahili anaitwa na Viswa. Any member who is of the view that we shouldn't adopt these statements? Going once, twice, gone. So the financial statements have been approved and adopted. The second bit for Bonyo before he leaves is to recommend auditors for 2023.
Thank you, Chair. We want to put to members that we retain the firm UHY as our auditors for the 2023 financial year. We need a proposer or seconder to that. Dorothy proposes, Pamela CD seconds. So UHY is going to be our next and continuing auditors of our books. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We have two issues on the floor. The adoption of the report and the sustainability fund policies. I want to open a final round on those two issues, and then we'll put those questions. So anyone with a question on those two issues, you may raise them now. Bwana wakili.
Thank you. I just have to, I think the issue of sustainability fund. I had my brother Atta trying to put suggestions of how it should operate. Maybe in my other side hustle, I just came to learn sustainability funds and all the sub-funds and what we call protected funds for special purposes. I think maybe one of the best ways, and I think we have got to have an auditor here who knows how some of this things happen. The best thing is to open, my view, and what you call an escrow account. So if you go to any bank, they can open for you an escrow account, and there you will agree on how that account will operate. You can put caps on who can be signatory, what decisions the bank will require for you to draw on that account. Although it allows inflow, but outflow has got the caveat and clause put on. So I think an escrow account, and our auditor here can advise us on that. It will be the easiest way to handle that accommodation.
Okay, I see Openda. Who else? I want to take all these questions in a go. Who else has a comment on those two issues? Okay, then this is the final comment.
On the issue of sustainability fund, I think we should separate it from an escrow account. An escrow account in terms of interest. The interest is very minimal. It will earn the normal banking interest, unless I'm wrong. But here we are investing in money markets, whereby you agree with, let's say, is this Standard Chartered? Standard investment, and you agree that in a year, for the amount you have put in, you are not going to give us anything less than so much percent. Which bank will give you at that percent? So escrow account, for me, is not the right way to go. Let's go for the standard investment, whereby you reach an agreement and you agree that in a year. And you can even see where they're putting your money. They're putting it in T-bills. You know how much a T-bill earning in a year. If you're putting it in various listed companies, you can see how those companies are performing, and it's easier to monitor. And we want to grow the fund. We just don't want money that stays there, and at the end of the year, the bank pays you at almost a percentage that does not make any sense.
Thank you. Thank you for those contributions. I now put the question for the adoption of the annual report 2022, which has also been shared with you. Could we get a mover? Could we get a member to move? Yes, Nangambugu has moved. A seconder? Dorothy has seconded. Any member who has a reason why we shouldn't adopt this report? Oh, they've already left. They've left with their reason. So the annual report is adopted. The last decision, and having had intervention from members, I think the decision is reduced to, do we take a decision as members that withdrawals from this fund be done subject to approval by members at the annual general meeting. That's how I've sensitized the various interventions. Is that synthesis good? But withdrawals from the sustainability fund to only happen subject to approval by members at a general meeting. It may be annual or special, but at a general meeting. Let's have Shimoli, then Wakili here.
I also have a reservation. I may have missed something, but I'm wondering, why do we elect an EC to take decisions on our behalf, and then we tie their necks so that they can't function? So I'm thinking that maybe it's better to allow them, and then they come to the AGM to explain.
I concur with Shimo. I think the executive committee must be given the freedom to operate. What is important is we set rules on when or for what purposes those funds can be withdrawn. But I think an AGM might be a bit tricky.
Chairman, just for clarification, are we saying we allow the EC to spend the money, then call an special AGM to tell us they have spent the money and then we want to approve? Or are we saying we want to spend the money and then they call us to give them the go ahead to spend the money?
The synthesis was proposing that for this fund, the EC must get counter members with reasons why they want to use the money. Then when they get members say so, they can go and spend it. The interventions say that we are electing these people after, and they are going to campaign, that we should give them the powers to use the money, but come and explain. When we give them conditions on what they can use that money on. So we have two options there, and we need to see where the majority of members are. Let me allow Mutegi, then Martin.
Thank you, Chair. My feeling is that this, we are calling it a sustainability fund, meaning it is not an operations fund. It is not a fund that we are supposed to be picking and touching every day. So, how are we operating currently when that sustainability fund is open to the council to decide? Do they always go into that fund too often to pick something there or not? And the reason for it being sustainability fund, it is like a safety net. Should we fall into any pit or find ourselves in majanga kama yaliyotufika ya COVID-19, tunapata namna ya kujikwamua ndio guild iendelee. So my feeling is there should be an approval from members, because this is an annual thing. I don't think there is such a major emergency that cannot wait for a special general meeting or a general meeting of the members annually to approve that. Otherwise, if we make it open for the council, it will not become a sustainability fund anymore. It will become an operations fund. Thank you.
Members, I wish to say that it has taken us a long way to have this money. The guild has existed for a long time. And now that we have some money saved due to prudent decisions made at the guild, I want to beseech you members to believe in a structure that you can make and rely on. Do not think that KEG will always be in good hands by people of this. Please do not believe it. I may seek to be KEG president so that I have a way of using this sustainability. And we are thinking, this is just one level of ring fencing this money. We'll try to ring fence it internally within this committee, yeah. And we will also seek another level of ring fencing this money at your level, because reasons for using money will always be there. And this is not something for operations. No. And it has come because of the nature of leadership that is in office now. You have no guarantee, or do you have it, that you'll always have prudent decision makers in this office? Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Any other views on that issue? Kufungia hapo. So we have two competing ideas. Do we go for division or do we go for acclamation? With acclamation, eh? How many of us support the first view? Hey, I'll tell you something. Okay, the first view is that people offer themselves for leadership. They go through strenuous campaigns to persuade members. Those who are for option 1, hands up. Huh? Can somebody help me count? I'm not very good with maths. Okay, thank you. Those are for online. Online guys, could you raise your hands if you support option 1? And Diana, could you tell us if there are any hands up? There are none. Online, I hope you can hear us. Raise your hands if you support option 1. Alright. So that, how many hands were those? Okay. The second question, those who are for option 2, hands up. Judy, nisaidie kuhesabu. You must know how many they are. We must have an official record of who supported this decision. Of the Senate, you.
19. Let's go there.
Making? So the second option wins, and it is so decided. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of agenda number 5, including appointment of auditors. But we do have just a small briefing for information of members. We have a secretariat, and I want to give the chance to the CEO to just give you a small briefing on what happens there, because they're the ones who take care of your affairs on a day-to-day basis. After that, and check whether there's any motion from members, and if there are no motions, it will be my last duty in office to dissolve the EC. Thank you. Rosalia?
Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon. So maybe I should. Yeah, thank you very much. How many know where the KEG office is, first of all, to begin with? How many have been there? All right, so we are located at Valley Arcade, and members are welcome to go to the office anytime. You're welcome to visit because it's your office. Danjay Apartments, it's on Valley Arcade, right next to the Italian restaurant down there. Yeah. You can explore. Yeah, so that's where we're located, and it's an open office. You're welcome to visit anytime, and have a quiet space there, and say hi to the people there. So I am the Chief Executive Officer of KEG, and my role is in the Constitution. All right, it's a constitutional. I have a mandate there, and my mandate is day-to-day running of the affairs of the secretariat and basically coordinating. So we coordinate all the programs of the guild, both membership-led and secretariat-led, and we have staff who I'd like to introduce. I don't work alone there. I work with a team, and we are very progressive gender-wise. So I'll ask them to come nearby, and then I'll introduce them. Wendy, Carol, Annie, Benjamin, and Diana. Right? Those are the people who do the running of the secretariat. So Caroline is in charge of administration. She's in administration. Then Benjamin is the finance officer. Then Wendy is in charge of communications. Diana is in charge of programs. And last but not least, Annie is in charge of membership. I'm sure you've been giving her an easy time, right? She calls you many times. And you respond many times. So please keep doing that. Keep responding to the KEG programs. Keep, What's up? Which is a good thing to keep everyone engaged. We want to have everyone on board. We want to increase the level of engagement on KEG affairs, and that's why we are always welcoming. Feedback on the platform about what you would like to see more of, and you're always welcome to send that, because this is a membership organization and it is for us, by us. So feel very welcome, and I also take this opportunity to say thank you very much. All right, since I have the microphone, to say thank you very much to the leadership team, all right, for setting the bar high. I say that KEG did not just happen. I personally came on board through one of these processes in 2018, and thereafter transitioned into now leading the affairs of the guild. So thank you very much to the leadership team led by Churchill for setting the standard so high, and for ensuring governance in Kenya Editors Guild, for ensuring that ethical standards and governance are maintained at KEG. You haven't heard of a scandal. That's a good thing to leave the office clean, right? And I also look forward to welcoming the new team. The level of support will be the same or even higher. It will be scaled up. All right. So thank you very much, distinguished members.
Thank you, Rosalia. I don't know if there are any reactions to that. Looks like there are none. Then we go to the last agenda, which is any motions from members. And the way these things happen is that if a member had a motion, they needed to notify the secretariat. So I'll invite the secretary to let the meeting know if there is any motion, and if there is, to have that motion be tabled.
Thank you. I did not receive any motions from members.
There being no motion from any member, that agenda is also consumed. So members, this therefore marks the end of the term of the 2022-2023 Executive Council, and also marks my retirement. That was going to happen if we had this meeting without hearing from the registrar. But we did hear from the registrar, who confirmed the constitution, and the confirmed one has been shared with members. So each of you has a copy of the constitution in force. that agenda is taken as done. So mine is to thank you, to wish you well, and to request you to accord the incoming team the same support that you did accord me and my team. It takes lots of sacrifice. We had many instances when members of this EC team had to meet for long hours to be able to make sure that the guild's business is in order. So when the team that you elect in office approach you for support, I would beseech you, where you have singular opportunity or singular skill or talent, kindly offer that support. But the burden is a huge one for the team that you put in office. And with those many remarks, I now declare the EC dissolved. Na wawe raia naenda wakae kwa wananchi na tuwache Razani peke yake abaki hapa juu.
I'd now like to invite yes. Yeah. I'm the chair now. For now. Yeah. So I'm inviting the AGO. Okay? You have a format. Please say. Alright, I can see the RO is here. He's done with the job. So I'm going to hand over back to him right now.
We know the president has left, or is due to be. But we are saying this before, okay. And the suggestion is that for transition of the new team, suggestion would be to maintain the outgoing for 1 year for transition. As a trustee in one of the, it is a suggestion. It's not that it's already in. Yeah. Or as an ex officio. Yes. Yeah.
They can share that. Let the new team decide on it. But you have to come back to us so that they can approve.
Sure. And the RO should also touch on that, because that's part of his mandate. Yeah, because the call was made out, and we received the expression of interest or nomination into the posts. Yes, and one was left vacant. So the RO will also speak about that as he gives us his submission. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Onyango.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for your patience as we go through this. I'll probably give you the easiest bit. On the question of the trustees, the Constitution provides for 3 trustees to be in office. We received nominations for 2 names, and I'll read them out. I believe it is possible for the incoming team to incorporate a 3rd one. I think that will take care of that. In terms of the elections that we've had today, the revised Constitution of 2022 sets out the procedure to be used in the elections. And what we did is we received nominations for 7 positions, 5 of which are for the various chapters. And for those positions, I'll just read them as they came. We did not have elections because there was only one candidate for each of them, and therefore it was not necessary to hold an election. So I just want to formally declare that, starting off with academia, that Professor George Nyabuga is the new representative in the council, University of Nairobi. Okay, so I'm reading what's in the letter.
He's on sabbatical.
Yeah.
He's on sabbatical.
For online, initially we received 2 nominations from Francis Moradi of Star Publications and Sami Moraya of Journalists for Human Rights. Sami Moraya then indicated his desire to step down from that position. So as a result, Francis Moradi remains as the online member. For print, we received 1 nomination, Linda Bach, from Standard Media Group. For radio, we had 1 Topista and October from Kenya Post. For television, we received 1 nomination from Millicent Award from Kenya Broadcast Corporation. In relation to the elections for the president and the vice president, each of them received 2 nominations. The Constitution requires each of those candidates to have at least 15 members of the guild supporting their nomination. So we received the 15, each of the candidates was validly supported by at least 15 members of the guild. And last evening, so we had a meeting with the candidates, or yesterday, I think about 1 o'clock, and we agreed that to make participation better, we would have members voting online. And I was actually very impressed. Immediately, I think I started receiving responses in the evening, last evening. I woke up this morning and my laptop kept on tingling results. So, and what impressed me was the ability to understand the instructions and to do what was required. But obviously, these things are never 100%. There are a couple of you never know. You never know with these things. Sometimes even straightforward instructions are misunderstood. But we did have one spoiled vote, and yes, we did have a blank vote. A total of 46 members voted online, and a total of 64 took part in this online in-person meeting. So we had a total of 112 people participating in the election. 46 and 64. So that's 110. My apologies. And then we had 2 spoiled votes. So for the position of vice president, there were 2 candidates, both validly nominated. There was James Mbugwanganga, works for MediaMax, and was Ruth Nesoba for British Broadcasting Corporation. Of the ones that voted, James Nganga received 17 votes online and 18 votes in person, so for a total of 35 votes. Ruth Nesoba received 29 votes online and 44 votes in person. For a total of 73. So I wish to declare Ruth Nesoba as validly elected as the Vice President of Kenya Editors Guild.
Stand up.
For the position of president, so as the council comes in, they'll tell us whether they found the coffers empty or not. Well, I think it's something members have discussed. There were two candidates for the presidency, Sami Muraya, journalist for human rights, and Zubeida Kananu, affiliated with Standard Media Group. There were, again, a total of 110 votes cast. The number of votes cast for Sami Muraya online was 20, and the ones cast online the ones cast in person for Sami is 16, for a total of 36. Zubeida Kananu received 26 votes online and 46 votes in person. And so with a total of 72 votes, I wish to formally declare Zubeida Kananu elected as the new president of the Kenya Editors Guild. So I believe my work is done. Do not ask me about the 2/3 gender rule, but we will survive. And I think with those remarks, I believe my job is done. I wish to. So the trustees, my apologies. There are two trustees who expressed a desire to join, to be trustees. I believe they've been there before. Arthur Okwemba, Africa Women and Child Future Service, and Martin Masai, Eastern Broadcasting Corporation. So at least the 2/3 gender rule is not breached. Thank you very much. It is now my honor to hand over to the incoming president, Zubeida Kananu.
Nilikuwa nauliza Andy kama kuna ambulance inasimama hapa hivi. Kwa ukipima pressure saa hii. Leo ni ile siku hata kizungu iwezi kutoka, mnisamee. But I appreciate you. Asanteni sana kwa kuniaminia sisi sote. Congratulations to you all. Asanteni sana. I look forward to working. Asanteni sana colleagues. Oh my goodness. Asanteni sana. We promise not to let you down. You know, you're told when you learn from the best, you become the best. Yeah. So asante sana. Churchill. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's an amazing boss and mentor. Take it from me. He believed in me, he trusted me, and held my hands. You know, last election, when I was elected VP, it was days before the Press Freedom Day. And he told me, you're going to represent me in that function. Days after the election. Yeah? So it tells you that when I joined EC, he didn't see me as a threat, you know? He didn't see me as an outsider, you know? He held my hands and walked with me. Even when I sat down to write that speech or presentation for the Press Freedom Day, he guided me, you know? He told me what to touch on, how to address myself, how to present myself, you know? So asante sana Churchill. Let me tell you, wale ambao wanatafuta wadosi, if you have Churchill as your boss, know that you're destined for growth.
Yeah? Asante sana Prezo.
True story.
And asante sana to the EC wenye wako hapa na wale ambao hawako hapa sahi for holding my hands. You know, I found a gel team and it was so easy for me to work as VP, and I owe it to Churchill.
Amen.
Kama yeye hakutuunganisha, kama kufanya kazi ingekuwa vigumu sana. So tunasema asante sana. And colleagues for believing in me, I make a commitment in front of you all that I'm not going to let you down. You know, I've always been there for you. I've served you diligently, and hii sura muizoee. Kwa sababu ground vile niliwaambia the other day, kwa ground nakuja. My boss niliona siko kwa TV. Yeah, and talking about standard group, asanteni sana for standing with me, because there is no event that we've held as KEG that hasn't been aired on KTN, on our platforms, on newspapers, on our digital platforms. And for that, I say ni support kubwa sana. So I say thank you. Thank you to each and every person here and those represented here. I say asanteni sana. There is so much. Kuna vitu nyingi sana ambazo zinatusubiria sana sasa hivi. Who can tell me what's happening next week? And what else? And what else? Maandamano. So that takes us back to the conversation that we've been having about safety, security, and welfare of journalists. How far are we? Since maandamano ambayo yalipita, how many of us have taken it up in our newsrooms? Yesterday was International Health and Safety Day. How many of us had an event, even in our organizations, on that? Started with, yeah, thank you. So we hope to do the same in all our organizations. Ndio tuhakikishe kwamba tunafanya vitu kwa ground. You know, we are taking care of our journalists from the ground. You know, unajua kama KEG ndio tunakuja kusupport, but we want us to take care of the welfare of our journalists kutoka our specific institutions. There is another conversation that we've had the whole of this week on editorial independence. Wangapi watu wamewahi kujua na hata simkamba hii story imelipiwa ama hii event imelipiwa, you know? So there is that conversation that we need to take forward and tuangalie how to strike a balance. You know, yes, tunahitaji pesa, but also how do we do that in a manner that doesn't compromise editorial independence. Yeah. So it's one of the things that we are going to focus on as well as we move. Tumezungumza hapa about our regional fund. So ni vipi ambapo tunaweza kujijenga sisi wenyewe even before we go to the donors, you know? And that's why we will come mashinani to our specific newsrooms na hata mashinani, because sometimes it's perceived that KEG ya watu wa Nairobi. You know, I'm sure you had that conversation a couple of times. So tunataka tufikie even our community organizations, community media, kule mashinani, and involve them in our day-to-day work. Because a journalist or an editor who is in Turkana, as the editor, he's not a lesser editor than those of us who sit in Nairobi. So he does not tell them wale ambao wako kule, tuwasikize and try to identify the challenges that they are facing. Because what I'm facing at Standard Group is not the same thing that you're facing at KEG or another organization. And we're happy to also have our team from the online social media, because, oh my goodness, I'm one of those people who've been trolled. Yeah, not once, not twice. And I'm sure there are other journalists here who've been, whose rights online have been violated. Nowadays, we don't have a voice. You know, some of us have shut down our social media platforms because GBV is no longer physical. It has gone online. It has changed its form. So most of us were vocal, not even female journalists. Nyinyi wengi hapa mmetukana social media. So we've been denied that right to express ourselves, freedom of expression. So how do we deal with that? And when I saw it, my brother Moregi have it in one of his pillars, I was so happy because we need to venture into that as well. And we are happy to have our team from the online department in our specific organizations So tubadilishane mawazo. And there's another question that came up, Juicy, about how do we bring on board young people as well. Yeah? I don't know whether I pass to be a young person as well. Yes? Being in my 30s, I can relate. Before we pick a fourth floor, I'm sure I'll use this as an opportunity to appeal to the young people and to bring them on board. So we are not going to leave anybody behind. We are going to work as a team. Because for us to achieve everything, see how it's a combined effort. You know? So when we come to you, give us your challenges, give us your expectations, and we promise. And I'm taking that bullet on behalf of the EC, the new one, that you're going to listen to. You're going to have our ear on the ground. We are going to work not as per what we want, but what you want. So we appeal for your support. Please mtushike mkono as we walk this journey. And I'm so happy that we have the Kenya Media Sector Workshop, which inatupatia nguvu hata zaidi. So let's work together as a team. Because when a journalist or an editor has been attacked, si huyo mmoja peke yake umseme ni mtu wa KEG ama ni wa KEG ama ni wa Editors Guild. It's us. So when we speak as one, it becomes even better. You know, you remember what happened in Manzoni the other day. And we appreciate all the media houses that stood with us that day. Yani bullets in the 1 o'clock stories, what is the welcome panel to prioritize what the media industry had to say about the safety and welfare of that. So let's keep moving together, let's keep holding each other's hands. And I'm sure Africa Mbani Sana, this is just the beginning. Tell them to wait for us, we're coming. We are coming, we have to fight for our space. Asanteni Sana, I'm standing between you and lunch. Let me not say much, Asanteni Sana. But before I sit, I would love to invite my able opponents, my friends, my brother, Uriah, to say a word. Yeah, maybe if there's one thing I believe, there is no loser, you know, and because even elections, sio uadui, ni demokrasia, sio, na ukiwa na huu ushindani ndio hata mtu anajituma zaidi, because if I was alone, singekuwa hata, let me tell you one, let me confess one. You know, I went to Africa the other day, and I realized that the office is just 3 minutes away from where I live, and I've never gone to that office. I didn't even know where it is. Yeah? So, and I also went to KBC, oh my goodness, the hospitality in that office, oh my goodness, it was on another level. And the Radio Africa as well, the way you received us was awesome. And Nation Media, asanteni sana kwa mapokezi mazuri. I think I'll take my boss there. Because kila mahali nilikuwa naenda nilikuwa napatana na makeki, na machai, na masoda. Yaani mpaka nikauliza siku nipeto, nafasi tu niketi hapa, you know? So, and it's us going and visiting our new specific newsrooms that we are going to learn from each other. Maybe there's one thing that I'm doing, and the other one, the person is doing it better, so I can borrow from them and learn from them. So, and it's one thing that we commit to doing, visiting each other. Because we can't serve you without knowing the kind of environments that you're working with. So, tuendelee kushikana mkono na tutaendelea kufanya kazi kwa pamoja. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. Yeah, and my brother Nana, bado tutakuchapishia vitabu. Hii KGR lazima kiboreshe, si ndio? We need to monetize this. How do we monetize it? We need you on board. Please come say a word.
Thank you very much, Madam President, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you very much to the people who have voted for me. I always tell people, you miss all the shots that you don't take. So I took a shot. That's why I'm standing here addressing you. And the only thing I'll say is that democracy has sacrificed a good leader. Asanteni. Asanteni sana. And so I will continue to discharge my duties as a member of KEG, and I'm a proud member. Thank you very much. And congratulations to the incoming team, and congratulations to Ruth. We had reached out to each other, and we had agreed to do a clean campaign. Thank you.
That's the kind of leadership we want in KEG. Actually, kama mahali. And Ruth, award.
First of all, congratulations, Madam President. And to my worthy opponent, Nganga, we talked, and I said that we will work closely together. KEG is not Ruth or Zubeida, it is you and I. It is all of you. And a win for Ruth is a win for KEG. And like we said, sorry. Sorry. The excitement. Thank you so much. This is a win for all of you as members of KEG. And as we told you earlier, there are threats to this industry from within and from without. And that is what we're not going to allow to happen to us as the media. When people sit at a table and make decisions where the media is not present, we say no to that. Decisions cannot be made when we're not there. So as a team, we will work together. We're not going to fight. We'll use our diplomacy. As you can see, we know it better because we have, as you can, you have seen us doing our campaigns. We've run a very clean campaign. We have run a campaign based on issues and things, and that is what we are going to continue doing. Of importance is our welfare as journalists. As we work in the streets, are we well taken care of? Are we taking care? Are we taking care of our wellness? Those are some of the challenges that we face, and with your support, I will work closely with the president and you as members to make sure that we implement all the concerns, all the challenges that you have. We work with them and action on them, and make sure that we leave KEG a better place. This is a place to be, and thank you so much for believing in us and for believing that we can deliver for you. My friends from my PPC, you're my first home and you always remain my first home. Thanks, you have delivered this. And to my bosses who have believed in me in taking up this post, and to everybody sitting here who believe in me. Cheers.
Asanteni sana. Wacha nisiwafunge sana. And invite you for lunch. And who will pray for us? Pray for us.
I did stand to do Pastor Mackenzie's job, but I really thought it's important to thank our returning officer. I think he did a splendid job. I hope all of us are agreed that we have had an election that is as transparent as it could ever get. And we have had candidates who did not get elected make concession speeches, and we are good. And this is because we are the ones who check, all other organizations. It's really a proud moment to have an election that has no chaos and has no complaints of lack of transparency at all. And so from there, can I then go ahead and do the prayer?
Wanataka kuona handshake. Na ile naweza kuhakikishia ni coffers ziko sawa. Unanipatia serikali ambayo haina pesa.
Let me hand over the presidential iPad. It has many secrets. Some that people don't even know you will know as a president, and you'll be shocked when you see them. Pesa Sibonyo ndiye alikuwa naye amesema hadharani, so it will shock you, but you are sworn to secrecy. You only act on the information you don't share. Karibuni, and congratulations for the new incoming office. Let me move it to Mackenzie. Atupatie.
God our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your guidance. We thank you for a successful annual general meeting. And we thank you for a most successful election of the Kenya Editors Guild. Now, as we depart from here, we ask you that your blessings may go with each one of us, and that as we partake of the lunch, you will bless it ahead of us. We pray, believing in your holy name. Amen.
Asanteni sana. Cocktail ya prezo mkwate. Chacho.